Around 8 p.m. on June 14, 2018, SandBlaster at Daytona Beach's Boardwalk Amusements was operating normally, or as normally as this coaster was capable of operating, as this ride had been affected by many changes and problems in the past, but we'll get to that in a moment. The ride's single train of 3 cars was loaded nearly full with riders and dispatched from the station. As the train was nearing the end of the ride's second large 540-degree spiral, the lead car's front right road wheels lifted off the track, and the ride's secondary upstop or safety wheels did not stop this motion. Instead, these wheels became free above the track. With the lead car now partially derailed and sliding along the track, the car began tilting downwards to the left as the train exited the 540-degree spiral, and it entered a straightaway. At the start of this straightaway, there was a section of side-mounted magnetic brakes. The lead car, being out of alignment with the brake due to the partial derailment, struck this magnetic brake with the brake fin mounted on its left side. This impact detached the brake fin from the car and sent the lead car off the tracks to the right. At this moment, the second row of the lead car impacted a support for the coaster. The impact with the brake also caused the second car to partially derail, though it stayed on the track along with the third car, which were now holding the first car in the air, preventing it from crashing into the ground. 2 riders in the front row of the lead car were ejected and fell roughly 17 feet. Emergency and fire crews arrived on the scene moments later, and by 9 p.m. all riders had been removed from the ride. Thankfully, all riders survived the accident with recoverable injuries. Had the second row been loaded with riders, this accident likely would have ended much worse. So what allowed such a crazy accident to happen? Roller coasters don't usually derail. Most have a complex wheel structure consisting of 3 sets of wheels to prevent any car from detaching from the track. I made a video covering this in the past in more detail. SandBlaster was unlike most coasters in that it only had 2 sets of wheels, a road wheel on top and an upstop or safety wheel below the track. This was a conscious choice made by the ride's manufacturer to make the ride easier to maintain and build. According to the manufacturer, the ride is, quote, not intended to perform negative Gs, inverted activities, or extreme maneuvers. Was SandBlaster doing any of these things? Well, let's take a look at the ride's history. SandBlaster was originally constructed in 1975 for the now-defunct Adventureland in Illinois by the also now-defunct manufacturer Pinfari of Italy. It operated for several years before being relocated. This was the story of the ride for its entire life, operating for a few years, then being relocated to another park. By the time Boardwalk Amusements purchased SandBlaster, it had already operated at least 5 other locations, and it was showing its age. Accordingly, SandBlaster was refurbished in 2013. The 2013 refurbishment included a repaint and the addition of seatbelts mounted under the seat padding. These seatbelts were limited in their restraining capabilities due to this design. The refurbishment also included the addition of magnetic brakes to the side of the ride vehicle. With these new magnetic brakes, the ride's owners disabled the mechanical brakes along the ride's layout. By itself, this was not a huge problem. Magnetic brakes are very safe and common. But during the refurbishment, the ride's owners did not purchase enough magnetic brakes to replace all of the mechanical brakes. They continued with the refurbishment and opened the ride anyway, with the ride running over speed. This overspeed caused increased negative Gs to be experienced by the ride, and therefore more safety wheel contact with the track. When comparing SandBlaster side by side with other 64-meter Pinfari coasters, it's obvious that overall it went through its layout much faster. This is backed up by data from the accident report. They compared SandBlaster's speed through the accident location to the speed of other 64-meter Pinfari coasters. SandBlaster was running far faster than the other models. You can also hear in many of the SandBlaster POVs a loud clanging noise of the metal safety wheels contacting the underside of the track at the point where the ride derailed. This is not usually heard on other 64-meter Pinfari models. Safety wheels contacting the track is not a bad thing by itself. The wheels are there for a reason after all. But this continued impact on every cycle, combined with the flimsy angle design of the safety wheels, led to this accident. If an accident was inevitable in this configuration of the ride, did the owners have any evidence that this was going to happen? Yes, they had a lot. To begin with, when investigators were examining SandBlaster after the accident, they found lots of gouges in the track from where the safety wheels had escaped in the past. With so many gouges being found, it's clear that the ride safety wheels had escaped multiple times in the past, with a recent safety wheel escape happening around 2017 and being subsequently painted over, so that it was not noticed when the ride was inspected. There was also strong evidence that on one of these safety wheel escapes, the side-mounted brake fin had collided with a magnetic brake, much like what happened in this accident. This was evidenced by clear saw markings on the brake fin that occurred prior to the 2018 accident. To summarize, SandBlaster was created with a very simple and flimsy safety wheel design in the mid-1970s. The ride operated at several locations before being bought and refurbished by Boardwalk Amusements in 2013. The refurbishment included adding magnetic brakes and disabling the ride's mechanical brakes. Less magnetic brakes were added than needed and the ride ran over speed. Several safety wheel escape events occurred under the ownership of Boardwalk Amusements, including at least one event prior to this accident where the brake fin collided with the magnetic brake structure. These accidents were covered up so that the ride was able to pass state inspection. On June 14, 2018, around 8 p.m., a nearly full SandBlaster train was dispatched. When it entered the bottom half of the ride's second 540-degree spiral as the track began to unbank, the negative G's created by the overspeed car caused the right side front lead safety wheel to tunnel a channel in the track and escape. The car was now moving with a strong leftward tilt as it entered the straightaway. The front car's brake fin struck the magnetic brake structure as it was no longer in alignment with the brake. This detached the brake fin and sent the lead car off the track to the right. The impact partially derailed the second car. The lead car's second row struck a support on its way down. The riders in the front row of the front car fell roughly 17 feet to the ground due to the inadequate design of the aftermarket seatbelts. SandBlaster is an anomaly in the amusement industry. It's very rare to see a ride maintained as poorly as SandBlaster was, and the lessons learned from this accident have gone on to shape ride inspections and maintenance of the remaining 64-meter Pinfari rides. Boardwalk Amusements was in financial trouble prior to this accident. With the derailment of SandBlaster, the park closed for good, and all rides were removed, with many of them being relocated. SandBlaster was scrapped. Back when my channel was first starting to grow, I made a video covering this accident. Back then, I just felt a need to respond, so my video was posted just one day after this accident, with my only evidence being the on-scene reports and photos of the accident. Unsurprisingly, I got a lot wrong. Thanks to the recent publication of an official accident report and investigation, I've been able to produce this video, finally setting the record straight as to what really happened on SandBlaster. Thanks for watching this episode of What Really Happened, and I'll see you next time.